If you've cheered on the Sioux City Explorers at Lewis and Clark Park recently, his name will be familiar to you, but an injury nearly took him out of the game.
That's right. KTV's Katie Koppel tonight actually sat down with former Exes player Chase Harris to hear more about his journey back to the ball field for one final season.
I was playing Sioux City for 3.5 years.
Chase Harris was a star for the Sioux City Explorers, fast on his feet in the outfield, a powerhouse at the plate. But then,
And I dove for a ball in center field, and I felt something. It just didn't feel right. It wasn't like an excruciating pain, but it just didn't feel right.
during the 2022 season, an injury, specifically a torn labrum in his throwing arm.
I could throw about 90 feet with no pain, but as soon as I tried to really throw further than that and really throw as hard as I could, it was excruciating pain, tingling all the way down to my fingertips.
With more baseball to play, the team at CNOS helped him finish out the season and get through the next. But for Harris to keep playing the game he loved, he needed surgery. He turned to Dr. Brian Johnson.
He had a bucketed type 6 slap tear, so it's not a very common tear. And it was the superior labrum, anterior to posterior. That's what a slap stands for. And his biceps anchor point in the shoulder was unstable and was allowing the biceps to flip around, the long head of the biceps to flip around like a loose cannon. That
cannon of an arm Harris was used to out of commission.
It would hurt if you had hair. Every time you did your hair, it hurt. If you every time you raised up to grab something above your head, reaching up behind your body, reaching behind your back, anything like that, those things would hurt.
Harris wanted to do one more season of baseball. Being over 30 years old, the repair to Harris's shoulder was a bit different. Instead of repairing what was broken, Dr. Johnson protected what was good.
And so we cleaned up all the loose tissue meticulously respected everything that's normal. And that included releasing 1/6 of his biceps. 5/6 of his biceps was normal, and we left that alone. But the one part that was flipping around, that's the part we got rid of.
Harris completed his recovery and physical therapy back home in Idaho during the off-season. He then came back to Sioux City for one final season with the Explorers in 2024, crediting Dr. Johnson and his dedication to helping athletes stay in the game with the success of his final season.
I wanted to play. That was my last year. It was last year. And I knew I wanted, it was my 10th professional season. I kind of closed out a decade.
For Dr. Johnson, himself an athlete, it's about keeping local athletes in the game.
It's a privilege to take care of good people, and sports gave me a lot in my life. So many lessons I learned playing on the football field, you never learn in a book, and it's a privilege to take care of good athletes.
In Sioux City, Katie Koppel, KTIV News 4.
Harris finished his career in the Windy City after the Explorers traded him to the Chicago Dogs. Harris said with an injury like his, it's not just a physical pain that athletes experience, but a mental one as well. And he credits Dr. Johnson with helping him to navigate through that part of his recovery journey as well.
It's more than just an injury. It's a, how do you put it? It's a mental, it's emotional. He understands, the mental toll it can take. And he also understands that if you're not feeling 100%, how frustrating that can be as an athlete, because you feel like you're not performing to the best of your ability when you're injured.
Recovery from an injury, especially one that requires surgery, can take months, even years. Dr. Johnson says having the right mindset during your recovery is also a very important part of the process.
The facts aren't manipulated by my feelings, and so if that's true, allow those facts to help you and heal you intellectually and emotionally and spiritually, because they won't touch you physically. But you can tell yourself, I'm going to get better for a year, and that's a fact, Jack, and allow that to give you motivation to get the best out of your situation.